Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I want you to go ahead and get comfortable, because over the next few minutes, we are going to systematically dismantle pretty much everything you trust about the physical world. You know those fundamental rules of reality you learned in school? Well, it turns out nature has been hiding a completely different playbook, and physics is really struggling to make sense of objective reality. Take a second right now and just direct your attention to your immediate environment. Feel the chair you're sitting on. Take a deep breath of the air around you. It all feels solid, right? Predictable, objectively there. But what if I told you that modern physics is proving that your chair, that air, and even your own physical body are playing by rules that completely defy common sense? We really have to ask ourselves this deeply unsettling question. Is the reality around you actually real? The answer, remarkably, might be no. And look, we aren't just philosophizing here. We have 10 precise, fully source-backed scientific anomalies that completely shatter the foundations of classical physics. These aren't just theoretical musings either. We're talking about peer-reviewed, laboratory-confirmed experiments from some of the most prestigious institutions in the world. Okay, let's dive into this paradigm shift. Classical physics tells us that objects have fixed properties, that our observation of them is entirely passive, and that time flows strictly forward. But quantum reality, it proves that properties can exist completely separated from their objects, that merely looking at a system fundamentally alters it, and that the future can actually rewrite the past. Section 1. Life's hidden quantum machinery. To truly grasp this, we have to look at the warm, wet, and totally chaotic biology of everyday life. For decades, scientists thought quantum mechanics was just way too fragile to survive inside living cells. At human body temperature, quantum states should collapse in a quadrillionth of a second, yet nature relies on them perfectly. Back in 2007, UC Berkeley proved that photosynthesis hits 95 to 99% efficiency by maintaining quantum coherence for thousands of times longer than should be possible. And by 2011, Oxford confirmed that migratory birds, like the European robin, literally navigate Earth's magnetic field using quantum entanglement in their eyes. Right now, enzymes in your body are accelerating chemical reactions by millions of times using quantum tunneling. They are literally teleporting particles through solid energy barriers. How is that possible? It's something called vibrational assistance, where the protein scaffolding itself shields these delicate states from the chaotic biological environment. Literally, every leaf outside your window is quietly running a quantum supercomputer. Section 2. The power of observation. This brings us to the downright bizarre idea that reality might not actually exist until someone or something looks at it. Take this massive 85% success rate of a mind-bending phenomenon called interaction-free measurement. In 1994, a team at the Los Alamos National Laboratory proved that an object can be accurately detected up to 85% of the time without a single photon of light ever physically touching it. By using a split-path interferometer, the mere existence of a blocking object altered the outcome of the measurement. This completely redefines what it means to touch or see something in our universe. Information was literally gathered out of thin air. But get this, observation doesn't just gather info, it controls time itself. The quantum Zeno effect, confirmed in 1989, proves that constantly observing a subatomic system acts like a physical brake. It freezes its decay and keeps it entirely stationary. However, if you tune your observation pulses to hypershort, millionth of a second windows, you trigger the anti-Zeno effect, causing the system to decay significantly faster. Cosmic nature just doesn't have a fixed heartbeat. Merely tracking a system at the right frequency fundamentally alters its timeline. The very act of watching changes the speed of reality. Now, this phenomenon forces physicists into a real corner. For a long time, the psi-epistemic school of thought argued that quantum awareness was just a reflection of our own human ignorance, like not knowing what a face-down deck of cards holds. But in 2012, Matthew Pusey, Jonathan Barrett, and Terry Rudolph completely shattered that comfort zone with the PBR theorem. They mathematically proved that the quantum wave function is a real, physical entity. To quote the paper, the wave function must necessarily represent a real physical state of the system, rather than merely our subjective perception of it. Just let the staggering implications of that hang in the air for a second. This means that the chair you are sitting on right now truly exists in a swirling state of mathematical probability. Objective outcomes only lock into place because an observation triggers a physical collapse. Basically, reality is waiting for you to look. Section 3. Breaking classical logic. So, if observation dictates form, what happens to our most basic rules of math? I want to pose a classic math problem to you. the pigeonhole principle. It is an invariant law of mathematics. If you have three objects and you place them into two boxes, at least one box must contain two objects. It's just basic counting, right? So try to solve this. How do three quantum particles fit into two boxes without sharing? Well, they don't. In 2016, a research group led by physicist Yakir Aharonov completely shattered this mathematical law. Using what are called weak measurement techniques, which basically pull partial information without forcing a system to collapse, they placed three quantum particles into two boxes. In 100% of the trial runs, no two particles shared a single box. All three were in completely different boxes. So the crucial takeaway here is that right now, deep inside your own body, microparticles are quietly violating basic math, because their position simply isn't a fixed, singular truth until they are strongly forced to reveal it. And it builds into even weirder territory. You might have heard of the classical Mpemba effect, where warm water sometimes freezes faster than cold water. But in 2020, Adolfo Del Campa mathematically predicted the quantum Mpemba effect, which was just experimentally confirmed in 2024 by the University of Padua. They proved that a system starting farther from equilibrium can bizarrely reach equilibrium faster than an identical system starting much closer to it. So the future of a quantum system is shaped way more by its historical pathway than its current location. Distance simply doesn't dictate destination. Look at your hands for a second. Your skin, the weight of your fingers, those properties are inherently tied to you, right? Well, the quantum Cheshire Cat anomaly, proven in 2013 at the Vienna University of Technology, shows that at a fundamental level, an object and its defining properties can actually be pulled apart by nature. They successfully sent a neutron down one path, and its magnetic spin down an entirely different path, simultaneously. Just imagine a cat in one room and its grin in the other. It sounds like a fairy tale, but it's a verified reality. Section 4. Time, Destiny, and Us. All right, it's time to shift focus from subatomic particles directly to your existence, your time, and human destiny. Just look at how our classical assumptions consistently fail across the board. We thought the wave function was ignorance. Turns out it's a real entity. Life's origin, we assumed it was a lucky cosmic accident. Statistics on existential risk, we assumed the historical record was a fair sample. But the quantum and statistical reality is entirely different, and frankly, it's a bit terrifying. Let's look closer at that life origin aspect. In 2015, MIT physicist Jeremy England published a framework showing that atoms subjected to a sustained energy source, like, say, a rocket radiated by starlight, will automatically reorganize themselves to dissipate energy more efficiently. In this model, self-replication is just an optimal entropy-generating strategy. What this means is that humanity's existence isn't a cosmic fluke. All your consciousness, your curiosity, your fear, they're thermodynamically forced outcomes. You are an inevitability of the universe trying to balance its energy equations. And speaking of inevitable outcomes, this brings up a terrifying statistical loophole regarding our future. It's known as the anthropic shadow, a concept coined by researchers at Oxford. Our data on existential risks, things like asteroid impacts or supervolcanoes, is heavily biased because extinct civilizations obviously cannot record their own demise. The very data we use to predict the end of the world is inherently blind to the events that actually cause it, simply because we are looking exclusively through the lens of a species that miraculously survived. The true threat level is likely vastly higher than any model predicts. These paradoxes are so complex and world-shattering that developers are now rushing to map the boundary of what we know. For instance, open-source projects like the Quantum Nexus on GitHub, built by a creator named All-Knowing Roger using AI coding environments, are actively cataloging these exact mind-bending anomalies into digital databases. They're building tools to try and decipher these overlapping, contradictory rules of reality. But of all the data being cataloged, absolutely nothing is as chilling as this final experiment, the quantum eraser. Back in 1999, researchers created entangled photons. Step 1. A signal photon hits a detector, making a physical mark in the present. Step 2. In the future, they decide to erase the path information of its entangled partner. Step 3. The physical mark that was already recorded in the past on the initial detector retroactively alters its pattern to reflect a decision made in the future. The future literally physically rewrote a past physical trace. Which leaves us here. If the past can genuinely be altered by an event that hasn't even happened yet, how many memories, facts, and truths that we consider completely fixed right now are actually just waiting for a decision that was never made? I hope this explainer has totally shattered how you view the solid ground beneath your feet, because the universe is far stranger than we ever imagined. Keep questioning, keep looking. And we'll see you next time.